Hiya, so it's part 2 of my rant about feminism and YA. Okie dokie, so I'm trying to sort out my thoughts. Right, so I thought I would quickly discuss a few more things I don't like in terms of female characters in YA, and then I'll talk about some stuff I do like and why. So, a lot of these books in general, and in your local bookstore, they love featuring what you would call the average girl, and for a lot of people that's a Mary Sue. And the appeal is meant to be that you're reading about a female protagonist who is not out of the ordinary. She's someone who could live next door to you, or could indeed be you, and it's the sort of like reader placement into the book, and that kind of bridging thing between yourself and the material, so you can kind of, I guess, insert your own personality traits and things onto this character, because she's not too different from you. That's the idea anyway. I mean, we all know that was meant to be the case with Bella Swan. Blah. And I think that the innate problem I have with that idea is that I can't grasp the notion of this average girl meant to represent all of young female kind, because I'm reading these average people who are meant to be normal and just like you, and I'm finding next to nothing to connect with about them. They're meant to be, you know, usually stumbling their way through high school. They might have some social issues. They've got some friends. They have some enemies. They're not popular. They, you know, they're not overly attractive, but of course they really are. It's that, you know, ugly pretty girl thing. You know, they don't have great success with romance until the magic boy comes along, and all these sort of things, and it's meant to represent the general population, and no, no. And also a lot of the time it just means that it seems like a cop-out, because it's like an easier way to take away any, you know, any distinct personality traits from that character. Just you wipe them, so they're easier to relate to. They're just boring to read about, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I mean, you're reading this cardboard cutout of a character, or this like shady person who's yet to come into full colour and be completely defined, and you've got to spend an entire book, usually a series, with this person. Why? Again, Megan Chase tends to be someone I connect to with that one. That average girl trick, it's annoying. Melina from Melina Pendulum. Her videos are just fantastic, you should watch them. I love them because she rants and she's very strong in her opinions, so I think they're great. I'll link some of her videos in the doobly-doo in my pants again, because they really are great, and she words them so much better than me. So yeah, the average girl thing really annoys me. I think I'm going to try and list some books where, because I will talk about female warrior characters in a little bit. I'm trying to think of some books where it's not a case of the female is so independent and so self-consciously strong that it's going to alienate and annoy and insult certain readers. And actually one series that I think does it very well, because it has such a focus on females, is actually Liver Bray's Gemma Doyle series. And the reason I really like that one is because while we follow Gemma as our protagonist, we are essentially spending all our time with 4 girls, in fact. And they all have very differing personalities. In some ways they're stereotypes, but a lot of that gets subverted and challenged as well, which is really cool. But we get to spend our time with these girls who are discovering their own destinies and taking their own steps towards their freedom, but for some it's a reluctant thing, they're uncertain about it. It's not this idea of these girls getting together and thinking, let's kick some ass and let's, you know, make our own destiny and let's do things for ourselves. It's more so just that they're starting to call things into question because of what's happening to them, and because of this other world this fantasy stuff that they're being introduced to, and how it's challenging them and making them question themselves and their own place and all that kind of thing. And it feels like this very natural progression, and you get to witness these exciting changes in these girls, and in different ways too, because it's with the four of them. It's not just with Gemma. And I really, really liked that, because in their own way every one of them was strong, but it was a different sort of strength for different people, and they were taking their own steps towards it, and it was very much, it was an individual and really natural thing to witness, and I loved that. I thought it was really beautifully done, and I was so happy that it was with the four of them till the very end, and that we got to witness that. I mean, Gemma's overall journey was really fantastic too, and I loved spending time with her, but the four of them was great. That's also something I love in Diana Peterfront's Killer Unicorn series. That is a case of female warriors, but I mean, it's you know, a stock character thing that's kind of turned on its head, because they're all forced into being warriors as a sort of career choice, because it's this predetermined, you know, it's an issue of fate and what they're genetically set up to do. So for them, a lot of them, it's this, they're very reluctant about it, and you get to witness how each of them handle that warrior role and how it affects their life in a broader sense, all that kind of thing, and I like that. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe it is a case of the more female characters you get to spend time with in a book, the more you can appreciate stuff, because you have different people you can connect to. It may not be the protagonist for you, it could be a minor character or something, but there's more perspectives to be shown, I suppose, so I think that's very effective. In terms of, however, one central female character that I've really connected to in the past year or so of reading, I will say, is Katza from Kristen Cashaw's Graceling. Now, Graceling is a book that seems to be very love-hate with people, and I've done a review and a rant on that. Okay, so one of the reasons that I really did sincerely love Katza is because she put a voice to beliefs that I have myself, and they're quite unpopular ones, and they're ones you wouldn't ordinarily bring up in conversation either. She has no desire to marry, and she has no desire to have children, and she stays that way. Her belief doesn't change throughout the entire book. She feels that way at the beginning, she feels that way at the end, and she has no plans to change her mind. And that's even after all these different things have happened. She's gone through all these changes internally with herself. She's formed this relationship which is really important to her, but she hasn't changed her beliefs, and that was fantastic. It was also just really beautiful for me to be able to see put on paper beliefs that I have. Now, I'm not saying that you should seek out a book or a character for the sake of seeing your own ideas put through, but occasionally it can just be something that's really nice to see, and for me it was quite unexpected, and I didn't anticipate feeling that strongly about it when I was reading it, but it really moved me, because, I mean, I don't know, people really seem to have called Kristen Cashaw, have called her out on this, but for me it was, I don't know, it just really helped form a connection to the story, and it felt very sincere. It felt right for the character for me. I am biased, I guess, but I don't know, it's just something that really stuck with me, and the fact that her independence in that book was so important to her. I think the fact that it was so consciously raised, again, was, I think, very admirable, because you could have just sort of ignored it and not had her talk about it in such defined terms herself as a character. She was saying, you know, my own sense of self matters so much to me, I won't have that taken away. I just really liked that, because it was something different. It wasn't, in some ways, Cashaw wasn't trying to be, like, subtle about it. I don't know, I found that really admirable. Yeah, I'm completely losing any grasp on what I'm trying to say here, so I'll shut up. But ultimately, I like my strong females in my books. It comes down to what you define strength as, and, you know, how you feel things work best, given what the wider plot is, what all the other characters are doing, what the romance is, if there's romance in there. But I would much rather read about a strong female heroine than not. And that tends to be my preference for the books that are featured up here. That's just me, and I really hope I haven't angered people. I've tried to be honest. So I'm going to go now, because I'm tired. But thank you to everyone. Thank you especially to Bex for the original video, and to Megan for your stuff too.